was electric. It was one of the best atmospheres at a Foos gig in years. It was like being back in the 90s again.
Welcome back to Foos Files, the podcast for fans of the Foo Fighters. How you doing, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. And we're discussing pop-up shows again this week because obviously the band completed the little run of 3 dates in the UK and Ireland with the shows at the O2 Shepherd's Bush Empire, which is one of the great venues on the London music circuit. And then the Ritz in Manchester too, which is quite an interesting one because they actually played after another band, the Cover Sets, who were long scheduled to play at the venue, but they managed to bring that forward and shoehorn the Foo Fighters in afterwards. So it was a very late finish for anyone who attended that, which we're going to hear about shortly. The only real set list news, nothing changed really. They did the same 2 new songs, but they did play A320 at Shepherd's Bush. Obviously, they'd done it at that TV show taping at the little church in Ireland the week before. Then it was on the set list for Dublin. It was missed off, but they did bring it out for Shepherd's Bush, which I know was a huge talking point. It was a really memorable moment for all the long-time fans that were there who've been longing to hear that song played live. So again, we're going to hear about that in a minute because we're speaking to Colin Cassell, who was at the Shepherd's Bush gig, and then Sophie Hulse, who was at Manchester. And Cole and Soph, they're 2 people from the very friendly Foo Fighters Postboard Discord group. You may remember Colin from an episode we did last year because he was at the very first Foo Fighters UK show at the King's College Student Union in London. So we had him on to talk about that. And here he was, over 30 years later, back at a very small, intimate Foo Fighters show in the capital. So let's bring them in. Welcome to the Foos Files podcast, Cole and Soph. Okay, so we've got Cole and Soph joining us to talk about the London and Manchester gigs. How you doing, guys? Have you recovered yet?
Just about.
Yeah. I've got a touch of the flu as a result of it, I think, but it was worth it.
Yeah, the Foo flu, we're calling it.
Yeah, flu fighting. Yeah.
So Cole, you were at London and Sophie, you were at Manchester. So do you want to start kind of by telling us how you got there? Because obviously everyone's sitting around on Sunday doing whatever we do on a Sunday, and then little do you know, it's 3, 4, 5 days later, you're suddenly going to a Foo Fighters gig out of nowhere. So tell us about the whole chain of events from your point of view, whoever wants to go first.
We were texting each other, weren't we?
We were. Yeah, the news
Panicking.
kind of broke, didn't it? Yeah, pretty much. What was it? Just before lunch, wasn't it? The announcement came out. And,
11 o'clock?
Yeah. Sophie and I were in a WhatsApp group together, so we were kind of breaking the news, I think, to each other and trying to work out how we could get to a venue to try and get a ticket. And I was out and about with my kids. I'd actually been at Shepherd's Bush Empire for a gig the night before, so I was doing a bit of family duty, and it was kind of looking like impossible that I was going to get up there to get one. And you kind of think that it's going to sell out right away, so it's like instant panic of thinking, oh God, am I going to get there? Am I going to get a ticket? I need to get a ticket. So start texting others and seeing what's going on, really. So that was my first port of call.
Yeah, I mean, mine was obviously we were messaging each other I don't live in London. I live in Northamptonshire, so I'm nowhere near anything that's happening. I think from where I am, it's about 3 hours to get to the venue. So thinking that, like Cole says, you think it's going to sell out instantly. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Because I can't get there. Who do I know that's nearby? Cole. But obviously,
I let you down, didn't I, on that?
Yeah. And a couple of others. So yeah, I ended up getting in touch with somebody who I knew from the forum, who I hadn't seen since, I think, the Wembley gig we worked out, who I do still speak to sort of regularly, but not all the time. And I messaged him thinking, he's in the Manchester area. I wonder if he's about. So yeah, I kind of shot the message, and he got in a taxi straight away, got to the venue. I realised after he bought the tickets, I hadn't actually requested one. So panic ensued, but fortunately he had bought a spare, which he was very kind enough to sell to me. So yeah, great outcome for me.
Yeah, being as you tipped him off about it, fair's fair, isn't it? So yeah.
Well, I kind of assumed so, but then I was like, oh, what have I done? I've just made an assumption that I'm going and got my hopes all the way up here. What if he's just gone, oh, sorry, mate, I've already said to someone, I think I'd have died. I've been devastated. I really would have done. But yeah, result.
What about you, Cole? Because you were a +1, weren't you, I think?
I was also, yeah. I was. I messaged a few people who I thought might be going up, and luckily, a friend of mine, again, I know through the original sort of post board back in the day, and still chat to now, fellow West Ham supporter. So I think there was a little bit of a West Ham brotherhood coming through there. He was on his way over to get a ticket, and then yeah, you let me know. I think it was about 2 o'clock that he was there, and I could have his spare. So yeah, went from almost reconciling myself that I was not going to go and I was never going to make it, to suddenly I was going, and yeah, the prize sort of standing on the floor ticket too. So yeah, I was very went from down to really up instantly, and it's yeah, fair play to him. It's I'll forever be in debt to him for that.
Brilliant. So do you want to jump forward to Wednesday then, to gig day itself, and tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, I kind of I had to go and meet him for the ticket, obviously, and you read online, everyone's queuing up early, and like, oh, you got to get in early. There's a wristband situation, and there's like a check-in for a wristband. It's going to take ages to get in, and then I'm in a pub over in the West End up until about 6:30, I think it was, and doors opened at 7. So yeah, jumped on the tube over, got to Shepherd's Bush, and the doors were open at the time, and it was yeah, it was already kind of buzzing around. The check-in system was a lot better than I thought it would be. To be honest, it was a quick kind of, you had to show your payment card and proof of purchase wristband. We were inside within about 10 minutes. And yeah, level 1 at Shepherd's Bush. I don't know if you know the venue, but I've not been there for years on the floor, and I've kind of always remembered why I've often bought level 1, because it's quite cramped downstairs, and the stage is quite low. So we got in and we thought, oh, well, we're in here late. There can't be many coming in behind us, so we'll go down onto the floor, like pitch out by the bar on the side. We'll have a good spot here to catch the gig. But then, yeah, more and more sort of people piling in behind us, and it very quickly became very cozy down there, let's say, on the floor. It was even as far back as like the stairs to go up to where the bar areas were and the toilet. It was packed in, people trying to push through, and yeah, so it was. I was sweating a lot before they even came on stage, to be honest. So, but it just, it adds to that. I've been around since the early days, and it just reminded me of being back in the 90s, really. I guess that sort of era, like everyone packing into a small venue and yeah, getting ready to sort of get very comfortable with each other for a couple of hours.
Yeah, because that venue, it's kind of built upwards, isn't it? Everything's stacked on top of each other rather than sort of back and out. So I can imagine it getting a bit cozy in there.
And there's no pitch on the floor either. So like everything's flat. So if you're like people coming in behind me who are shorter than me, and like how they ever got to see anything, I don't know. But people during a gig were like sitting on the bars, climbing up the stairs, like hanging on railings and everything, just to try and get a view of the stage. But we ended up where we were. It was quite good, about 3/4 back towards the side, and of course they were late coming on, so more people are trying to push down onto the floor, and as soon as they came on, you instantly get that rush of people kind of try and bomb forward. And during the first song, it did really open up, luckily, and a lot of people pushed through to the front. So we did have a bit of room around us, but it was still, I've not been at a gig in years where you stood kind of towards the back of the standing area, but you're still bouncing and having to bounce and move about just to keep yourself upright and stable.
Yeah, I saw some videos from the balconies, and it just looked insane down there.
Yeah, and where I was, it was like you were kind of looking across at it. So I didn't appreciate till I saw the videos after how mad the pit was, I think, in the middle at the front, and it did look really lively. I see quite a few crowd surfers going over. But yeah, even at the back, it was bouncing, and it was really cool that I think for most of the songs, even what some you'd call deep cuts, I think everyone kind of knew them as well, which is unusual when you go to a big Foos gig. It's like people are there for the hits and out to the bar, and I think the bar actually next to me closed down because people couldn't get there, and no one actually wanted to go there because they were there to watch the band as well, which is quite unusual. So, but yeah, no, it was electric. It was one of the best atmospheres at a Foos gig in years. It was like being back in the 90s again.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I think some people who listen to this regularly will remember we had you on last year to talk about the King's College London show, which was their first gig in the UK, obviously. And I don't know if you heard, it might have been one of the BBC interviews, and Dave kind of mentioned it in passing. And then they came on at Shepherd's Bush and they started with "This Is a Call." So I kind of wonder if that was, he got that first sort of show in mind, and that was his little nod to that, because the same opening songs. Was that how you interpreted that?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, because he came on and said, "Oh, let's start right from the beginning," and it was like, "Oh yeah, this is." I thought initially they might go into enough space because they played that first at Brixton, which was that kind of real big first London show in '95. But yeah, no, to go into "This Is a Call" first was it was surprising, but a good surprise, because it's not one you often hear first on the set list, and immediately you're thrown back to those days.
But this one's from way back in the day. Not many people have ever heard it, but we think that it's one of the best things that we've ever done. So it's called A320. It's on
I'm going to talk more broadly about the set list in a minute, because you kind of roughly both got the same songs, apart from glaring one, which was A320, which you got in London and not in Manchester. And it's like, since they did it at that little church gig in Ireland last week, it's everybody's been talking about it. Like, wow, they've kind of rolled this one out after all these years. So tell us about getting to hear that one live.
Yeah, it was like, you kind of had an inkling that it might happen, I guess, from that gig they did in Ireland, but nobody knew it was on the set list, and they didn't play it in Dublin. So like, you're thinking, well, they just don't know, do you? But that was the one song, I think, when they started playing, that a lot of people were sort of a bit stunned, like, and it was almost like a silence came over a pretty rowdy venue, and everyone was just sat back and watching, because I don't think a lot of people knew it, I would say, initially, or like didn't appreciate what it was, because you can't download it really, can you, anywhere? It's one of those rare songs that's not even on Spotify, I think, and it's like a genuine deep cut. But yeah, to hear it, I think that might be the first time I've heard it live. I'm trying to think back to when they would have last played it. Yeah, amazing. And I was kind of I was chatting to the guy Dan who runs Foo Fighters UK before the gig, and that's his all-time favourite song, and he was on the balcony above me, and he cocked eyes with me after it sort of finished, and he was like over the moon that they played it too, because I think he'd been asking them to play it on Twitter, so he's taking credit for it. But yeah, it was amazing. It's one of those, like, you want to hear a deep cut, and I was thinking maybe something off the first album, like they were playing in the States, like that we haven't heard for a while. But yeah, to hear that was something else, and I don't know if or when they'll roll it out again. I can't imagine them playing it at Anfield in the summer somehow.
No, I think I read it was only the 6th time they've played it, or something like that. Yeah, so I'm sure that's what I
really rare.
The stat there. So sorry, it is really rare. Yeah. So just jumping forward a bit to bring Sophie in on Manchester then. The hilarious thing about this gig, or probably not so hilarious in your case if you were actually there waiting around, is so we've all been scouting around every time these things are likely to come up. We're all there looking at venues going, so where's available? There's a gap here. They could fit in a secret show here. This one's available. But they've kind of thrown that out of the window now altogether, because they've put on a surprise show in a venue that had already got a gig booked. So the cover sets, the Manchester band, they were long scheduled to play there, I think. And then they've just kind of brought it forward and dropped the Foo Fighters in afterwards, which is utterly bonkers. So do you want to tell us about your day? Because you've hung around to see them come on at what, like 11 o'clock or something?
11 it was that they came on. Yeah, that was a long, long day. I mean, my job starts early anyway. I was at work at 7:30 in the morning. So it was, and then it's quite a long drive from where I am, and obviously then there's traffic. So I think it was a 3.5 hour drive. And then I was in Manchester by about 5 o'clock, which was quite nice. But then, yeah, what do you do until 11:15 at night? So we drank a bit of beer, and probably a bit too much beer. But yeah, it was really, really strange. I mean, I think the cover sets, is it? I think they finished at 10. I think doors opened for us at 10:30, and like Cole said, it was the like checking in system and wristband system was like, it was spot on, really. It's what all the venues should be doing, I reckon. But yeah, it was really strange. So, you know, I was talking to a guy who had been at the previous gig, because he said he liked supporting like local bands and small bands and stuff on the way up. It was like fair play to him. And he didn't really know the Foo Fighters, but thought he'd stick around for it. So, you know, he did. Sorry. And yeah, so, and then they came on, promptly at 11:15 and played all the way till 1:30 in the morning, which is definitely the latest gig I've ever been to that's not a festival, I think. Yeah, it was really odd. I mean, you can't go to bed straight after that either, can you? Like, your adrenaline is way up. So yeah, it was a really strange experience, but I'd definitely do it again. I'd do it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
now I've slept a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something special. I mean, obviously we didn't get A320, but the rest of the set list I think was pretty much the same. And yeah, it was a nice one to have. It's definitely better than I think what they'll see at the stadiums in the summer. You know.
Yeah, sure. Well, we should have a load of new songs by then. But yeah, I was looking at the cover sets, social media stuff, because I think the singer put out a call saying, yeah, we've moved our gig forward for the Foo Fighters. Dave, make our dreams come true and come out and play a song with us. And he did, obviously. But yeah, but they also said they got a huge like feature in the Manchester Evening News that they wouldn't have got otherwise. And they were like, thanks, Foos, because we've finally got some media coverage thanks to you sort of gate crashing our night. So it was all well as well for them as well. So
I think I saw them tweet as well that Dave watched them from the side of the stage. So that's nice.
That's if you're an up and coming band, that's everything, isn't it? To have Dave,
that's what you want.
Yeah, so we're going to talk generally about set list. Any other particular highlights? Obviously, we got the other new song of all people. So what did you make of that? I know it's hard to tell on when you're kind of hearing it the first time you've heard it when you're in the crowd. But what did you make of that one?
I liked it. Yeah, it was pretty hard and fast. They didn't really intro it. They just kind of went into it off the back of another song. So I think you said the name of the song before, and then they just kicked into it. But yeah, had a sort of punky, almost punk rock vibe to it. It's yeah, I liked it. I'd like to hear it again though, because it's like when you're in a gig, you're just like you're hit with that and you're trying to take it in. Then you have to actually search out live footage afterwards from someone's mobile phone they put on YouTube, and it's never quite the same. So, but no, first listening, I thought it sounded good.
Yeah, I did as well. It does sound good, like you say, punky. I don't think we got an introduction, so I recall standing there being like, "What is this?" And then being like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, no, it was good, and I think as well, your favorite toy sounded pretty good live too, which is nice.
Yeah,
because you know, it's always, you're not sure if it's going to translate well into a live one. So yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, he said, didn't he, the first side of the new album's going to be very live orientated. It's built for the stage. So I think, as we've said before and we've chatted before, hopefully that's what this album's going to be all about. And they're sort of bold enough to play lots of the new stuff from it, a la Wasting Light. So fingers crossed for that.
Yeah,
so. Wasting Light was an excellent tour. So.
Any other sort of interesting stage chat at either of the gigs for those of us who, you know, are relying on looking at clips? I know in Manchester that there was a clip of Dave told a story about Ozzy Osbourne, which was a bit random. Was there any context behind that at all?
I don't know that there was, you know. It's just, like, Dave's pretty random, isn't he? He just says what he wants. I can't even recall.
It was something about Ozzy Osbourne renting his, or borrowing his holiday home.
Oh yeah, renting his holiday home in Hawaii, I believe it was. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere and just little short story from Dave, I guess. Intro into his life.
As you do.
Yeah.
What about London? Anything? Any sort of interesting nuggets from him there at all?
I think that sticks out. No, just how happy he was to be there and how it felt like he was back in the early days again. He said that a few times, and he did actually a few times break off from singing to sort of laugh and smile and let the crowd sing for him, and he looked like he was really enjoying himself, but there was nothing really in terms of banter that springs to mind, apart from this is what it was like in the early days and how old they are. And makes you feel old, and there's loads of kids there, of course.
Oh, because he brought that young lad on stage as well, didn't he? And he was on the side for a bit, and then he was kind of in the huddle at the end.
That kid was in the pit somewhere. I couldn't quite understand how that kid had survived in there for 2 hours. To be honest, he'd been in there the whole time, because all of a sudden, like, this sort of opened up, and Dave's like, I can't believe you survived in that middle of that fucking mess. Come up on stage and like sit here and we'll look after you and that. But yeah, I don't know if that kid was in there for the whole gig, because if he was, then fair play to him, really. I don't know. I would have struggled in the middle of that for two and a bit hours, right in the centre there.
Yeah, absolutely. So any other highlights or takeaways that you want to share before we kind of wrap up?
I thought Jason was really good on guitar. I thought he added something controversially that maybe a bit more than, I don't know if it was the club setting or what, but or the sound. The guitar seemed to have something a bit extra to them, I thought. And Ilan is a superb drummer. I've never seen him before, but I think he's instantly looks like a much better fit. And no disrespect to Josh, he was great for what they needed him for, but something about that felt a bit more right somehow. I can't really describe it. More natural fit on stage. But there were some new jams that they put in. The intro to Stacked Actors was really good build up there, and a little bit of Ace of Spades as well. they broke into at the end of No Son of Mine, which was dedicated to Lemmy. That was cool. But yeah, otherwise I was really pleased to hear Hey Johnny Park, because old school, want to hear that song. Exhausted as well, hearing those two back on the set was great.
Yeah, those two and Stacked Actors. I hope they survive till the summer, but they'll have kind of been in for nearly a year if you think of when they started the small shows in the US. So I'm just hoping, because I don't think I've heard Hey Johnny Park. I've had that before. I've definitely never had Exhausted. I've had Stacked Actors, but not for years. So I just really hope come like Liverpool in June that they survive, but I'm not so sure Exhausted will anyway, but let's see. So
I think the last time I heard Exhausted live was possibly Reading 2012, but that was a long time ago, so I could be wrong.
Yeah,
a rarity.
I'd have to check. I may have got Hey Johnny Park at my very first show in like the early 2000s, but I don't think so. I'll have to go back over the olds. But anyway, it's been a while, so I hope to get that in the summer. But are either of you got tickets for the summer or?
Although I decided to stray away from Anfield, and I'm going to Vienna.
Oh, nice one.
And I believe somebody else is as well.
I am too, yeah.
Vienna's like your gig, home from home, isn't it? I think you've got a bit of history. Did you go to Iron Maiden?
It is, yeah. I've got a mate who lives out there, and he lives really close to the stadium. So yeah, went last year to see Iron Maiden there, and it's a good excuse to go over and see him as well. And he's a big Foos fan. He's been around since the mid-90s too. So good excuse to get out for a gig.
Okay, so we've done a few of these little gigs in the last week or whatever. The thing that I love a lot about it, we love a lot about it. First things first, we get to fucking get loose and get sweaty and get loud with you guys like we don't get to when we play other bigger places. It's just the fucking truth. Number two, how many people stood in line for these fucking tickets? Yes. Sorry for the inconvenience. But it felt kind of good, right? Does it feel good to do it the old school way? It feels kind of good. All right.
So thanks again to Cole and Soph for coming on to share their experiences of the gigs in London and Manchester, two performances that it sounds like are going to live long in the memory for anybody who was lucky enough to go to those intimate shows. It's just making me very excited now for the summer when they come to the UK again to play in Liverpool. So that's it for this week. There hasn't really been any other Foo Fighters news to report, other than that they've announced they're going to be playing Rock in Rio, the big festival in Brazil, later this year. So more dates are being added, so we'll keep an eye out for those. As always, thanks for listening to Foos Files. We'll be back with you again next week with another episode. So have a great week, take care, and we'll see you next time.